Hello everyone, here with another video on Elks football. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the new coaching staff. I've compiled some notes on them, just wanted to give my general opinions on them. First and foremost, big Kahuna, Chris Jones. Obviously, somewhat of a controversial hire given what happened last time. Won the Grey Cup with him, then he bolts, goes to Saskatchewan, goes there for 3 years as the head coach and GM over there, and then after 3 years with them, goes to the Cleveland Browns, has a year as a coach with them, then gets moved to a front office role, leaves, goes coaches at his high school, then goes to the Argonauts, and then comes back here. This guy changes jobs about as often as he changes underwear. So a lot. And yeah, the feelings I have are mixed. I still think that he can coach football, and I still think he can put a team together. I still think, he may not have been the best guy because it seems like the organization is trying to go back to the past and recapture lightning in a bottle, and I don't think that's necessarily the best approach. Maybe they're being a little too conservative with it, trying to bring in a big name and just try and recapture lightning in a bottle instead of building something new. Makes me wonder if ownership's afraid that the fans are going to be impatient, so they're trying to get someone with name recognition now to try and lure fans back in. They're afraid of starting a rebuild with someone completely new, like Mark Killam, who might have been my first choice. But I am fairly favorable with a lot of the coaches' assistants that have been brought in. Granted, pretty much all of them are tied to Jones in some way, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. Like Stephen McAdoo, our offensive coordinator, he was the OC in Toronto last year. He was our OC in 14 and 15, obviously when we won the Cup, and we had a top offense in the West that year. Granted, it was a little bit under different circumstances. We had Mike Riley at that point. He was in MOP type form that year. Now, McAdoo's quarterbacks last year in Toronto were not. It was alternating between McLeod Bethel Thompson and Nick Arbuckle. No disrespect to those guys, but they're not MOP Riley caliber guys. I still think that despite only ranking 6th in points per game last year, that McAdoo's still a good coordinator, and I think that good things are going to happen with him. I also brought in Jairus Jackson as quarterbacks coach. He's been a pretty good quarterbacks teacher, been around the league, been with BC quite a bit. He's also tied with Jones from part of his time at other stops in Edmonton, obviously, and then with Saskatchewan. So, two of them know each other well. And so, with an understanding of each other, I think it'll go well. And, Jackson will mentor our young quarterbacks, be it Cornelius or Arbuckle, or if we bring in a guy in free agency like Masoli. And then you have Anthony Vitale, who's brought in as the offensive line coach. He's been well-traveled in the college ranks in the United States. Was at Division II Southwest Baptist for a while. Spent some time at FCS Delaware State. Last year he was with Eastern New Mexico University, and they ranked 83rd out of 163 Division II teams and points scored 26.4 a game. He also had some players earn all-conference honors, especially when he was at SBU. So, being a CFL veteran, that'll also help him. And then finally on the offensive end, we also have Marcus Howell, another former Jones guy from 2016, joined him in Saskatchewan. They had the worst offense in the league in 2016 with the Riders, but then they picked it up the next year and they were 4th. So having Howell as a receivers coach, I think it'll be a good hire, and obviously we're going to have some new guys in at receiver, because I don't know if Darrell Walker is going to be coming back. He's a free agent. Ellingson's really getting up there in years, so we got Shy Ross and Mike Jones, who had some moments last year in the hectic offense that we had, and so he's going to bring those guys along, and, hopefully we have some other veteran receivers that we bring in to help speed that process along. Then the last new coach that we have brought in so far is Brandon Isaac for the DBs. He's another Jones guy. He and Jones were together in Toronto in 2012, 2013. Whenever Isaac was still a player, he had a few CFL years under his belt as a player. He's kind of been bouncing around. He was coaching high school in his South Carolina. So he's got some coaching experience. It may not have been specifically DBs, but obviously he played the position. And, it's definitely going to be an adjustment. He might need to be brought along a little bit slowly. I think expectations for him would not be as high as they would be for the other guys who've been there and done that we brought in on the offense. And I also like McAdoo for the fact he used to be a lineman, and that was our biggest weakness last year. Our line was just not as good as it needed to be to succeed, and we saw that game in and game out. Quarterbacks were rushed. The running lanes weren't open for Wilder and then Walter Fletcher, so we got the makeover our offense needed, and hopefully these guys are going to come together and they'll find something that really works. Now, first year, my expectations are not high. I think we'll contend for a playoff spot, maybe be around 500. I think it's going to take at least until year 2 before we might even be taken seriously as a contender. So we got to keep that in perspective because this roster, it just needs a lot of change. Most notably, quarterback and offensive line. Some of the other position groups, like receivers and some places on defense, they can be patched up, but don't need overhaul. But yeah, the offense definitely needs some new talent in some places. So CFL free agency is going to be coming up starting the 8th, and I will be back with some more on what to expect with that and break down the free agents that we sign. But yeah, the coaching staff, right now, cautiously optimistic about it. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.